G'day, welcome back to part 2 of my milling vise build. I'd like to welcome all my new subscribers and I hope you enjoy the content on my channel. Well, this milling vise has taken a little longer to make than I was anticipating, and originally I thought I could do this in a single video, but if I want a decent vise then I'll have to put the effort into it. I made a startling discovery just after I'd finished filming the last episode, so follow me over to the mill and I'll show you what I found. Alrighty, so just before I started cleaning up I decided I'd get out a piece of this granite that I've got and see how flat it was. Now I tried to get the camera down low enough but I couldn't get it. When you bend down and look up through there you can see light through that, which means it's just not flat, and it's even different from one side to the other. That's an 8 thou or 0.2mm feeler gauge, and that just fits in there. I'll come over this side, it won't fit in, but a 6 thou will. So I've got a 6 thou whoop in that one and an 8 thou whoop in that one. So decided I don't really want to do it, and it's a shame to mess up that nice glossy finish, which I would have done anyway with a sandpaper to sand it. I'm going to run the fly cutter across it, but I'm going to have to do it in 2 sweeps. Hopefully it'll take the high spot off this side and the high spot off that side. I don't really want to take too much off this. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Well, that's a much bloody ripplier finish there than out here. That line there's pretty hard to feel, so I don't know there's much there. Let's see what it looks like with this bit of granite across it. Well, I can't really see any daylight through there now, so hopefully that solved the problem, and I'll just use this to sand it completely flat. Well, I could probably keep going for hours with that, but that's flat as a tack. It's got a couple little scratches and things left in it. This is the piece. I gave it a bit of a sand as well. It goes up here. It'll get attached up there. So I think I'm going to call it quits at that. I don't know if I want to stand here all day and sand that. Alrighty, so next cab off the rank is I need to drill some holes through this to be able to bolt the jaw on with, because I want a clean face here with no bolt holes in it. And what I'm going to do with this block is it'll overhang over the back 4 or 5mm. I'm going to weld it here and here and all the way along the back, and I'm also going to bolt it up from underneath. Alrighty, just got to hope like hell now that this thing doesn't warp on me. Oh, that's something I didn't do. Spend all that time cleaning these up and get spat all over them. my money's worth out of that rod. That'll do. Don't want to put any more heat in it. Well, that's that end of it all done. Drill and tap those 2 holes in there, and I've given these welds a bit of a clean up, make them look decent. These 2 holes in here ready for the jaw to be mounted. So now I'll have to work on the movable jaw and a new T-nut and all the fixings for the back of it here. But it's coming over all cloudy at the moment, so I think I might clean up before it can rain. Alrighty, what I'm doing there is I want to lower this plate for the movable jaw down a little because it needs the top machined off it, and I don't want to take too much off the top, so I decided I would lower it down. So I've got to cut a groove in here now as well, but I'm going to go and bolt this back together first. Alrighty, so I've made 3 passes. These ones over the back I did 2 cuts, mainly because it's the hangover on the ends. These ones I've been doing a single pass, and it's handling it okay. I'm actually having trouble seeing the line I scribed on there. I think I'm just this way a little bit. I hope I am anyway. Yeah, I am. Yeah, there's the line there. Alrighty. Bit of the take, not enough than too much. If anything, I think there needs a bit more off that side. One of those horrible damn splinters in my finger. Got them everywhere. I'm in trouble getting them all out. Beautiful, righto. It doesn't need to be a perfect fit in there, it just needs a fit in there. Yeah, that's that done. Alrighty, now that I've turned these 2 pieces into one, it's welded on the other side as well. That is so hot, it's just unbelievable. So I'm going to leave that to cool. When it does, I'll clean up some of the worst of this weld first. I'm going to fly cut this side and this side. That's the side the jaw has to bolt onto, and that's the side that runs up and down the base. So that's where I'm at. I think I found out what caused all that horrible ripply finish in the base. When I went to move this back in, that screw, that grub screw there, was actually loose. So it was probably allowing that to move around. And as you can see, get much better finish. But I've trimmed the head since, and it's still obviously not right. And to be honest with you, I've never used a fly cutter prior to this. This is cutting on the way over, and then the trailing edge is cutting as well, and the trailing edge cuts more than the leading edge does. But you'd think, alright, I'll cut it that way. Then you get crappy finish out of the leading edge. But going that way you get really nice finish, so I really don't know what the hell's going on here. But anyway, I'm going to make one more pass over this, and we'll see how we go. That's a much better finish from that trail and edge. Just still, it looks ripply, but it doesn't feel ripply. Kind of weird. Anyway, well, it's starting to take shape. That's the movable jaw made up. Still got to make another jaw yet, but that's no big deal. So now I'll have to work on making a new T-nut. I found a big chunk there which I'll cut down and make it fit the full width of in there and this. So hopefully it'll be no slop in it. And then I'll have to rig up all the back, make the nut up and everything for it here. So we're nearly there. Alrighty, so I've got in this morning and cleaned up a bit of this garbage, and trust me, they were cut on angles like that. Ty cut that up for me. Bloody useless after he was told that they had to be nice and square, these cuts, but look at them, hopeless. So now I've squared all that up, runs beautifully in there now. So I'll flip it over and mark the width of this all through there, and then machine it into a T. Look how clean that slides up. Oh, beautiful. Wait, lovely. Well, disaster has struck. It's probably just as well this is the last thing I really need to machine for this vise, because this one just broke. Big crack up through there. What a bastard. I was being a bit rough with it and tightening it up with a hammer, and there you go. I've destroyed the bastard. Don't know what I'm going to do now. What a pisser. Well, viewers, as the old saying goes, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I'm glad I didn't try to video this, because I started this at about 10 o'clock this morning. It's now the best part of 2 PM, so it's taken me forever. But anyway, that's it, done. I haven't tried it in there yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to fit. So, well, viewers, I don't know what else I can say other than like I bought one. Well, it's beer day today, so I'm going to knock off now and go and have a couple of beers with the boys. I think I've earned it today. I'll get back into this again tomorrow. Well, viewers, today's a bit of a waste. Just spent a few hours down at the hospital getting my knee looked at again, and the damn surgeon's telling me that the problems I'm having post-surgery he doesn't think can be fixed. So yeah, good on you. Anyway, now that I've got this T-nut made up, all I need to do is make up all the back end of it. I was going to weld it on here, but the thought occurred to me that the way I've got this set up, I'd never be able to get the lead screw out of it if I weld it on, so I might have to bolt it onto the end here. A couple of beers down the bar yesterday afternoon proved quite fruitful. I've been wondering what I was going to do for a project once I finish this, because the next thing I'm going to do is add the linear scales that I've got. Anyway, I was talking to him about breaking this vise and how peeved I was about it, and he said, so you're going to make a new one? You're going to cast one up and make a new one? And I said, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And he said, I'd be right impressed if you managed to do that. Now, looking at this thing, it's a bit flimsy looking, so if I was to cast something up that didn't have all these pockets and stuff in it and was solid, it would probably make a nice little vise. So look out for that one in the not too distant future. I'll cast one of these up. I'll reuse this. I can't cut this thread, so I'll just cut that off across the bottom and bolt it on. But I'll recast this whole base part of it. We'll do that. Alrighty, so this morning I've drilled this one. I was going to use a countersunk head cap screw in there, but now that I've got a much thicker piece of steel in here than I had before, I've decided to go with a countersunk cap head. Not Loctite at that moment, that's done up tight. Whack the pilot hole all the way down through here. Actually, no, I haven't been all the way through. It popped into there and I stopped. But anyway, so I just need to mark this so I can drill it and tap. There has to be a thread tapped in that, and then this will be drilled out to 8mm and then countersunk. You wouldn't read about it. I'm at the end of my travel. Unbelievable. All I really need to do is mark that so I know where to drill it. So get it up another couple of millimetres, I'll be right. Right, well that's that one done. far enough, but I'll go just a little bit more. That'll do. Said a little earlier that I had nothing else left to machine. Well, that's not true. I haven't faced off this second jaw yet, and I might be forced to use one of those crappy old drill press vices to do it, because I've got no other way of holding it. But anyway, so we'll get on with making the back end of it here and get the thing working up and backwards and forwards first before I do anything about this. And I still need to drill 2 holes through here to bolt that jaw on with anyway. Well viewers, starting to look like a vise now. I need to drill some holes in here to bolt it on with, and I've decided I'm going to weld it, just weld it down in the corners here. Something you can easily grind out if you really need to get this out, and put some 8mm bolts in here, because this 16mm bit's got plenty of meat to screw into. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm toying with, I cut this bit off a socket when I was doing the power feed for the mill, and I'm thinking about trying to make this square, but the problem is by the time I get it that size there, I'm using half of these bloody teeth, and I don't know if it'll be strong enough. Might have to mill it square, and then if I have to weld them up and then mill it again, and then make up the handle with using this to go on the end. But anyway, that's where we're at, and to drill holes in this now I'd be standing in the sun, so I'm not doing that. It's too damn hot. So anyway, I'll get back into this tomorrow. Alrighty, so I got this thing out this morning, and this toy I've had in the box for a long time. I've got a hexagon version of this as well. Had to fit this crappy drill press vise up, and to make sure that it grips fairly squarely, I've put a little jacking screw in there. There's an image up there in the top corner of what I got in there. I've done one cut here just to see how it's going to go, and what I've done is I've turned it down to the same diameter as this, and then right on the end, just to make life a bit easier, I turned it down to 1/2 inch, which is what the flats are across here, so that I know where I'm milling to. I've done one cut, seems to be working okay, so we'll flip it around and have another go. I don't know how long this battery's going to last. I went to change it, and the one that was in the charger saying that it was fully charged is actually flat as a tack. So I don't know how we're going to go. I don't know, I'll finish it with a file. I have to. Well, I was sort of worried about these things here, but they're not too bad, I suppose. And I can't weld them up because then I won't be able to screw it back through the nut. There we go, look at that, perfect. If you've been enjoying this video up until this point, I'd be really pleased if you would give it a great big thumbs up and press that like button. Kind of helps me out. And don't forget, feel free to comment anytime. I'm glad to read them, and I'll try and reply them always. Alrighty, what I was talking about before over at the mill was these little remnants of thread here, which really are not that much of a problem. Let's send it up just a little undersized. This thing's a bit sloppy. I made that up before. Pretty much done. If all I really need to do now is drill holes in here for that jaw, dress that jaw up, drill and tap 2 holes in this jaw. That's pretty much it. Give it a coat of paint maybe, but works a treat. And this thing here, this bolt there, we get it up, nip it up to where you want it, tighten it right up, and then just nip that right down, and nothing is going anywhere. Well viewers, I'm not sure how this is going to go. These jaws aren't bolted in yet, I haven't drilled these holes yet, and that's just a piece of steel. It's the same size as that. The tip I've got in here is one of those, well, maybe 0.2 radius tips that the guy from up country sent me down when I got that weird grind end mill, so we'll see how that goes. Well, that's just plain weird, that is. It cut with leading edge going that way. It cut with the trailing edge going that way. It cut with the trailing edge coming back this way. It cut with the leading edge going this way. I'm going to have to revisit this table. There are tight spots in the table, and I think I might have to put some more bracing from the top of the column back down to try and stop the column from flexing, because I think that's part of an issue as well. My, what a difference a good setup makes. I didn't videotape any of this because I've been experimenting and playing around a bit. But look at this, look at the gloss on that. Beautiful. Now, I've actually taken about 4mm off the top of that. Only a couple off this one. This is 0.4 radius tip. I was only taking passes of about maybe 0.2 of a millimetre, so very light passes. So that confirms what I was thinking about being flex and everything in it, and cut on the way over and very little on the way back, hardly anything on the way back. Whereas before I was taking quite a lot off on the way back. In fact, basically on the way back all I was really doing was polishing it up a bit, but I am just really pleased with that. Just finally I have a fly cut finish that I'm really happy with. Well viewers, there she is in all her sparkling black glory. Finally finished it. And I'm really happy with this. This just worked a treat. Opens up full 100mm, 4 inches. Might make a speed handle for this, I think. Bit hard twirling that thing around. Locking bolt, beautiful. Well, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this, and next up will be the linear mini measuring rails. So thanks for watching, and do come back again. Bye bye for now.